The man who arrives at the doors of artistic creation with none of the madness of the muses would be convinced that technical ability alone was enough to make an artist. What that man creates by means of reason will pale before the art of inspired beings. So says Plato. Hello, I am Mesma. I'm an artist, a dancer, and a painter. And lately, I have been hearing from my artist friends about the difficulty in keeping our practice alive, in getting inspired, in feeling motivated to keep creating what we do. And of course, one could argue that why don't you just start the work? And yes, for the most part, that's true. That starting the work is the beginning of vanquishing that demon of resistance. And this is not my term, by the way. This has already been authored by Stephen Pressfield in his wonderful book, The War of Art. But I digress. So what I'm trying to do here is that I'm trying to read some quotations by inspired and inspiring people, and hopefully what they say will collectively help us all. Now again, these videos are for practicing artists, but anyone can be a part of this wisdom that has been handed to us, so it's available to everyone. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's look at what Plato is saying. Now Plato, time period is between 427 BC and 347 BC. And what he's saying is, the man who arrives at the doors of artistic creation with... Okay, let's pause. The man who arrives at the doors of artistic creation, by the way, the man is a generic term for humankind. He's not referring to the gender man. But he says the person who arrives at the doors of artistic creation, which means that the person who has taken up the brave, the courageous task of being an artist. André Matisse said, creativity takes courage. Back to Plato. The man who arrives at the doors of artistic creation with none of the madness of the muses. Now, why are the muses mad? And why do you have to be mad like the muses? You see, when we say that someone is mad, what we're actually saying is that that person has somehow lost their ability to reason with logic. They have lost their mind. They cannot use their logical mind anymore. And logic you need to survive, to do your daily chores, to get from this place to the other, to go to your job, get up in the morning, make a list of things to do, have your breakfast, whatever. You need logic to survive. But what he's saying is, when you are trapped in logic, in the logical mind, when you're not insane enough, such a man, such a person would be convinced that technical ability alone was enough to make an artist. You know, I know how to dance. I have learned the steps. I have spent years training. I can jump make high leaps. I can contort my body in different shapes and forms. I can balance. I'm gorgeous to look at. I have all that technique. I'm an artist. Well, are you? Plato says, what that man creates by means of reason will pale before the art of inspired beings. So what you create by means of reason, if you apply your logical mind, if you get in front of that canvas and then start to think, should I do this or should I do that? Should I put this color or should I create this form in this way? If I put this thing over here, it will be off balance. But my professor told me to do it this way. But I think that the other way is better, because that book that I read last year said something else. So wait a minute. There. You're trapped. You're trapped in the logical mind. You are still locked up in that place in your mind that helps you make the breakfast in the morning, that helps you pay your bills, that helps you know whom to call at what time. That mind will not make you an artist, because what you create with that mind will pale before the art of inspired beings. Inspired beings, inspired beings. The works of art that withstand the test of time and still hit us when we encounter them. We look at them and we contemplate. And in that contemplation, the mind stops. Sometimes people cry. They weep. Why? It's completely illogical. But it is because they come to the same realization, that same place of actually no mind that the artist was in when he or she created that work of art. When the muse visits us, and usually she visits when we are working. That's what Picasso said. He said, when the muse arrives, she better find you working. Or rather, I think he said, when inspiration arrives, she better find you working. Either way, it's a beautiful thought. But it's just not a thought. I think he's speaking from experience. It's an embodied realization of sort. So to all my artist friends, let's not overanalyze, but get down to it, because getting your hands, your body in that physical space of creating something itself will set you free. I know it works for me, and I hope that this quote works for you. Thank you very much.